If you could change any choices you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of Inspired Choices radio show, Holographist coach, Christine McIver.
Welcome, 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 everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here today. How are you? What is going on in your world? It is an absolutely glorious, crazy, out of this world time. And I wonder if you are feeling this as well. I have been connecting with a lot of people who are feeling the exact same way, and I'm wondering what we can do to actually connect together today during today's show and see what we can do to actually create more expansion, more allowance, more ease in our worlds, because this is not fun, right, when we're feeling really, really off. And how many other inspired choices can we make today that will actually create what it is that we're desiring? Are you willing to ask that? Are you willing to lean into a new inspired choice? And what is an inspired choice? Well, the word inspired basically means to have the spirit within you. Now, you do not have to be spiritual or religious to understand this, but when you have spirit within you, when something is spirited, and often they talk about a spirited child, which, sometimes feels like they're just trying to say he's a little outspoken or rambunctious or whatever. But when you have spirit within you, you're alive. So what choice is alive within you, jumps, kind of wakes you up, that you could be choosing that would create something even greater? So lean into it and ask the universe. If you connected last week, that's what we were really talking about, was really asking the universe is to show me. So ask the universe, show me my next inspired choice. And, it doesn't have to be a choice that, creates $1 million. It can be a choice that actually gets your ass out of bed. That, too, can be an inspired choice that can create something absolutely phenomenal. So today we're going to be talking about conversations with your creations. I know, probably many of you are thinking that's pretty crazy. And what if you could actually have conversations with your creations? Would that be something that would be an inspired choice? Would that be something that would actually contribute to you? So we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be diving deeply into the conversations and what creations and conversations look like, because those are two words that I think a lot of people are using quite flippantly and not really acknowledging the breadth and depth of those two words, the meanings of those words. And I love to look at the meanings of words. So we're going to do that. And we're also going to be taking a look at what else it is that you would like to really lean into, and what it is that is creating maybe a little bit of intensity and insanity in your world. So you definitely want to stick around for the entire show. Before we jump in, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a holographist coach. And what a holographist coach is basically someone who says we don't need to create for the future. We are creating and having it and being it right now. So to have a hologram is to create in kind of an imagination what it is that you desire to step into. Well, what I do when I'm working with you is I create that with you right here, right now. I really entice you and sometimes kick your butt into choosing it right immediately, okay? And And when you're doing that, when you actually see that you can have it all right now, you start to show up in a very, very different way. And you start to make inspired choices. I guess we got to see him tonight. Inspired choices that have you be it, do it, have it, and receive from all of it immediately. So whether this is something that you would like to do with a business, if it's something that you would like to do with self-development, if it's something you would like to do with relationships, whatever that is, we can absolutely do that together. Every single person, if you reach out, if you send me an email, every single person, I do gift a 30-minute complimentary session to. This gives you and I the opportunity to see if we're a match. And if we're not, it's okay. But if we are, then we see what would work for you going forward. So you can connect with me at Christine at inspiredchoices.ca for Canada. You can check out my website, inspiredchoices.ca, or you can find me on social media. It's not very hard. I'm kind of all over the place. Okay, so let's dive into today's show. Conversations with your creations. Do you love to create? Do you wish you could create? Are you looking at why the creations aren't coming with ease, and most especially having the cash flow come along with the creations? If you answered yes to any of these questions, this will absolutely be a show that I know will contribute to you, if you're willing to receive it. So let's dive into this. First of all, do you know what it is to create? Do you have any idea what that actually means? A lot of people I know, when talking about creating and creations, a lot of people will go into immediate self-judgment, that they're often looking. I've heard so many people say, I'm not a great creator. I'm not good at creating. And I get the energy that many of them are thinking, well, I'm not creating a brand new invention. I'm not creating the telephone. I'm not creating a computer. Therefore, I'm not a great creator. And there's nothing could be farther from the truth. Every single one of us are creators. You're creating your life with every choice that you make. You are a creator. Every day when you feed your body, every day when you move your body, every day when you open your eyes or close your eyes, you are in the midst of creating, all right? Every single solitary person is. Now let's read the definition. To create is to bring into being, to make, to bring forth, produce, procreate, that's fun, beget, or cause, arise, be born, increase, or grow, all right? But the one that I like the most is to bring into being. To bring into being, let's just really tap into that. So if you are, let's look at this from the perspective of a relationship. If you have a relationship with any other human being on the planet, and if you're listening to me, you're having a relationship with me right now. But if you have a relationship with anybody on the planet, you are bringing that relationship into being. And you do that by the way that you connect, the way that you communicate, the way that you interact, the way that you react, the way that you contribute, the way that you receive from. You are bringing that relationship into being. It's never been before, because you are someone, and this other person in this embodiment, in this time and space, is a new, your whole experience in your body is a new one in this time and space. And this relationship is new. Even if you knew each other in a past life, this is new. So you're creating it. You're also creating a relationship with yourself and with your body. And you're doing that every single day. You're creating how you feed, how you nurture, how you enjoy, how you have pleasure, how you have laughter, how you have anger, how you have resentment, how you have judgment, whatever you choose. You're creating that with your body every single day. Now, if you have your own business, perhaps you're making products and you're selling those products, or you're contributing those products. You're creating them. Perhaps you are in a service business, like myself, and you are creating services for people. And each time you interact with a client or a customer, you are creating a service for them. The act of actually being with them in the moment is creating that service. So you understand that whatever way you're looking at this, if you're looking at it from an individual perspective, if you're looking at it from interacting with someone, if you're looking at it from a business, from an employer-employee, from a parent to a child, from an individual to their bank account, anywhere you look, you are creating. So from this moment forward, I would like every single person that is listening to this show, now or in the future, to never, ever, 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 ever again say, I'm not a great creator. Because you're creating all the time. When you can get over just that one little thing, and you can come out of judgment around you and your creations, you can begin to then start to have conversations with your creations in a very abundant way. It can be prosperous to you. You can grow from it. You can learn from it. You can add to your bank account from it. There's so many things that can be created with your creations when you come out of judgments of you, of creating or not creating, come out of judgments of anything you've ever created. Because, oh my God, one of the greatest things that stops you from creating forward is judging anything you've ever created from the past. Hands up. Tell the truth. How many of you judge that you have not created enough in the past, even if the past is just in the last year? Yeah. You know, it's interesting this time of year. So we're mid-November right now, 2019, and people are starting to talk about the next year, and a lot of, business coaches out there, they're starting to get very serious about looking at your projections and planning ahead, and there's this intensity of energy, but there's a massive amount of judgment that comes up with this as well, because they, in order to manipulate you into actually choosing to work with them, they find it useful to judge you so you feel guilty, so you'll choose them. I think that's an insane way to actually bring forth something that you would like to create, but that's what some people are choosing. And so a lot of people right now are in a big judgment space. I can tell you this for an absolute fact. When you are in judgment of yourself, even 1%, that is going to impact anything you are desiring to create. Hear that. If you are judging yourself even 1%, it is going to impact every single solitary thing you are desiring to create. So you could be judging yourself in one area of your life. It's going to have an impact on all the areas of your life, because energy is energy. All right? If you are judging yourself, then you are judging anything and everything that you are being and doing. Judgment is just a crock of shit. Judgment is a comparison. Judgment is looking at something else or someone else or the past or your projected goals and saying, I'm not good enough. I didn't do good enough. Well, I'm telling you right now, that's not going to change anything. And in fact, it's going to continually have it create in that same energy. So if you're desiring something different, the first thing you want to do is acknowledge, oh, wow, I'm judging myself here. And then very quickly what you can do is just go, you know what? That doesn't work for me anymore. I'm not choosing that anymore. And when that comes up in your mind, just look at it. I physically turn my head and look at the thought and go, no, that's not true for me anymore. You can go away. And you might need to say that 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, but it will go away. As I was saying when I was working with a client earlier today, our mind has been created in part to protect us. And we have the thoughts stored, all the thoughts we've ever had in any lifetime stored in our mind. And in those thoughts are the thoughts of what happened in the past that we've chosen, where we've been hurt. So our mind immediately goes, no, you don't want to do that. Because remember, when you do that, this happens? Well, your mind does not have, I can't think of something, intelligence. Pardon me. Your mind does not have the intelligence to know that you have grown and evolved and that you are no longer that person until you start to take those thoughts out of your mind. So when those thoughts come up again, just look at them and say, no, that's not true for me anymore. And let that thought go. Let that thought go and begin to choose you from the amazing being that you are. I don't have the quote in my mind, but there is this fabulous thing you can go on the internet and find. It's called You Are a Miracle, and it actually talks about the probability of you actually coming into embodiment and what a friggin' miracle it is and all the things that have to take place in order for that to come to fruition. Okay, we're going to go to our first break. When we get back, we're going to dive into the conversation piece about creation, all right? So you're listening to Christine McIver on the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network. Stay tuned. We're going to be right back after this break.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices radio show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are talking about conversations with your creations today. And I just want to give you a little bit of perspective on something that occurred with me earlier this week. You know, a lot of times when we're in judgment of ourselves and we're worrying about what other people think, it definitely holds us back. And I'm sure many of you listening have experienced that. when we're worried about what other people will think of us and we stop doing what really is inspired to us, we actually rob both ourselves and the people around us from what it is that we can be contributing into the world. And I want to tell you about something. You know, I grew up in a very small, very, very small community with four corners, don't blink, you know, a church, a house, 7 houses, and a school. And I was a very insecure, very afraid young woman. I grew up that way, and it took me, you know, several years, probably 30 or 40 years, to actually grow out of that big, heavy fear. And I was always very concerned about what people would think about me, and most especially the people that I grew up with and my friends and so on. And there's very few people from my childhood, from, you know, even up to teenage, that I'm still connected with. I don't have a problem with any of them. It just, you know, life just occurred that way. But I often thought about what they would think about what I do today and about the things that I say on the radio. And, you know, it would pass through my mind, but I couldn't hold it, because in holding on to that, it would have me stop creating. And so I would have conversations with myself about this so that I, you know, just move past it and be okay and enjoy who I was becoming. And I had a wonderful thing occur this past weekend. I actually had a girlfriend that I grew up with from a young child, you know, right from the age of, you know, 6 when I first went to school, right up through high school, you know, went to her wedding, and we're actually distant relatives as well. And she reached out and said that she listens to my show and she enjoys them. That really surprised me and brought me so much joy and pleasure. It brought me pleasure knowing that someone that I, you know, knew for so long was enjoying what I created. But on top of that, it surprised me how I was in response to that messaging, because I didn't go into the, oh my gosh, what's she going to say? I really just received all of it. I received what she shared with me, and I received what I actually created myself. So would you be willing to allow yourself, your infinite being, and your body, your business, anything, to be created in a way that contributes to you first and foremost? When you're creating and you have other people in mind first, you actually stop creating in an energy that will be generative in what you actually came to be. You are divinely designed to bring forth your capacities, your knowing, your amazing gifts. And it's got to come from the place of satisfying you first. Not from a place of taking from someone else, but it's got to satisfy you first. Otherwise, you are going to be at the effect of other people's thoughts, feelings, and judgments. And when you are doing it based on, you know, responding to other people's behaviors in your creations, I'll tell you another really big thing that's going to happen is you are not going to have clarity in your conversations with your creations. Okay? Please get that. You're not going to have clarity with your conversations with your creations, because your creations, you're not coming from the space of really connecting with your creations. You're kind of putting a barrier in between you and your creations when you are concerned more about what someone else is feeling and thinking. All right? So first and foremost, you got to get clear, my friends. You got to get clear that you are doing what you're doing because it turns you on and it lights you up. Remember, inspired choices is about the inspiration within you, not how you're inspiring somebody else. Now, you can do both, but you can't leave you out of the picture. You're first. I have this beautiful painting my friend painted me once, and it says, it's gorgeous abstract painting, and then she actually took her finger and she wrote, "It's all about me." And it is. It's all about me. It's all about you. Get clear so these conversations can really be connected. All right. So that was kind of the lead up to all of this, that it was so important for you to understand. Now, the next thing that I want to really connect in with is, what does it mean to actually have a conversation with your creation? First of all, it means you're going to connect with the energy of a creation, okay? Understand that each and every single solitary thing on planet Earth is energy, right? If you're on here, you probably understand that I've said this many, many times. All right. So knowing that every single solitary thing is energy, you are connecting with everything energetically. That's the first way we connect with people, with creations, with anything, is energetically. And everything that you connect with energetically is an entity. All right? An entity has an energy. All right? Your house is an entity. Your car is an entity. Your book that you're writing is an entity. My radio show is an entity. Okay? Every single solitary thing that has energy is an entity. I'm an entity. I happen to be an entity with a body. There are people that are on the planet that still hang around that don't have bodies. They are entities. Now, you don't have to agree and align with anything that I say, but just check on that if that feels true, if there was ever any of that came to your awareness that felt true. Now, when you are looking at anything, and I'm going to start with creating a relationship, okay? Your relationship has its own energy. You know this if you've had more than one relationship. Don't look at the other person. Look at the energy of the relationship. What was the relationship like? The energy of my creation, of my relationship with my ex-husband was intense. It was chaotic. It was abusive. All right? And this was the energy of the relationship, not just the people and what they did. We feed these relationships the energies by our choices, by our behaviors. And then these things start to grow and grow and grow. Now, you can look at any relationship you have ever had, with your parents, with a sibling, with a friend, with an employer, with a client. Look at the energy of that relationship. Did you honor that relationship? Did you nurture that relationship? What were you doing in the creation of that relationship? When you connected with that person, were you present? Did you honor that creation between the two of you? Did you dismiss it? Did you make it unimportant? Did you check your phone every time they're in your presence? What are you doing in the creation of your relationships? Now let's take it a step further. Let's look at a relationship you have today. And now I'd like you to connect in with that relationship and begin to have a conversation with it. Now let's pretend that it's a relationship you haven't been honoring very well. Look at the relationship. Connect with it. And then just acknowledge, I'm sorry, I haven't been very present with you. I'm sorry I haven't made you a priority. I haven't been nurturing this relationship for that other person and for myself. And something I would say, show me. Show me what it is I can be and do to create you even greater. Show me the steps. Nudge me. Allow me to contribute to you. And would you contribute to me? Would you contribute to us? Would you support us and allow us to support each other through you? Doesn't that feel amazing? Doesn't that feel empowering to know that you have this ability to have a conversation with the relationship itself and ask for its support and be honoring to this? I'm telling you, if you are being this way with a relationship and the relationship between you and that other person, intimate or otherwise, should come to a conclusion, you will be more honoring in closing that relationship than you've ever been before when you honor the relationship throughout the entirety of the length of it. I hope this is landing, my friends. It may be the first time you've ever heard it. It may sound wacky and weird, but I'm telling you, you've got so much power available to you, and it takes a lot less work at creating anything when you're willing to have a conversation and be really vulnerable with yourself about the contribution you are making to that creation. All right, we're going to go for our second break of the show. You are listening to Christine McIver on the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices radio show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details or join the Facebook page Pleasure o' Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is Inspired Choices radio show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, call in the U.S. 815-880-8255, Canada 613-800-8736, or Skype us at Inspired Choices Network. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Before we dive back into today's conversation, I want to just let you know that I have a special promotion I've got going on right now where I'm doing 7 hours of work one-on-one with you or your team for just $1,000 Canadian. So that's far less than my regular hourly rate. And it's something that I'm really enjoying, working with individuals who are designed to create even more, whether it's starting up your business, whether it's moving your business forward if it's already been in creation for some time. Perhaps it's creating a new marketing plan, a new strategic plan. Maybe it's actually communicating with your staff. Whatever that is, I have a large resource of capacities that I can work with you in your business, as well as I do personal coaching. I have a program where I work with individuals that are especially moving through divorce, whether it's divorce from maybe a business partner, divorce from a lover, a husband, a wife, or perhaps it's closing a relationship or trying to get through the pain of a relationship that's come to a closure, and yet you're still connected in some way. Maybe you have children. That program is called Divorce with Dignity, and I've had raving success with individuals saving themselves a lot of heartache, a lot of frustration, and yes, a lot of money because they don't need to go back and forth with lawyers so much. So if any of these sound interesting to you, if you would like to connect with me, I would love to hear from you. Please email me, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Or if there is a show that really spoke to you, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what your thoughts were, and you don't have to be agreeing with me either, but I would love to hear from you. When someone sends me an email, it's so uplifting. And if I uplift you in any way, I would love, love, love to have an email back from you. All right, let's get back into today's show. So we're talking about conversations with your creations. Now, if you're looking at why conversations aren't coming with ease, and most especially with money and cash flows, ask yourself, am I trying to fit into somebody else's mold? Am I trying to do what's acceptable out there? I remember when I really first started out with my business, I could physically feel myself looking at what everyone else is doing. I would be looking online, or I would be going to events and hearing people speak, and I was trying to figure out, okay, what are they doing that I can do that will make me successful, right? So I was constantly trying to fit into their definition, their creation of success, and I was continuously coming out of my own creation, coming out of really looking at what would be fun and generative and inspiring to me. And in doing that, I felt like I was fumbling around a lot. I felt like I felt desperate. There was this desperate energy that was going on. Like, why is this not happening for me? Why is this not happening for me? And when I started to finally kind of get the message that, look, this is about you. This is about what you enjoy. This is about what you love to do. And I started to come from that space and give up the worry. Only thing worry is going to do is create exactly what you're hoping won't happen. Stop it. You've always been supported. You know it. Just look around. You've never, ever, you're still an embodiment. Therefore, you've always been supported. So stop with the friggin' worry. That is insanity. That is not utilizing your energy in a creative way. So when you connect in and you actually ask yourself, you actually ask your body, or perhaps you ask your business, what would be fun and generative to create? and you let that energy go out to your business, go out to the universe, and allow it to come back in for you, you will start to get what I call is like the oh my gosh, the word just completely left my mind. Oh my God. It's like the path. You will get the path from the universe. It is like a treasure hunt. And that's what it was felt like for me when I was first starting on this path of connecting with creations and what would be fun for my creation. And so as I connected with my business, and I would ask my business, hey, business, what would be fun for us to create today? And not sitting there waiting to hear, but just be putting that out every single day, I would start to get little nudges here and there. The reason the nudges would come when I would do that was because I was saying to my business and to the universe, I am open to receiving whatever would be fun, whatever, without a conclusion about what that would look like or how that should look, all right? When you're putting your desires out there, if you would put them out and have them be very general, as in, I would love to have a business that brings me joy. Very general, right? As opposed to saying, I would love to have a business where I have 20 coaching clients every month. You could just feel that. It just gets heavy as soon as you start to say that. Okay? Maybe a joyful business that's a contribution to you, and trust me, when it's joyful and it's a contribution, it's going to include money flows. It may show up in the most strange ways that you've never even imagined. I mean, how many of you have gone off to college or university and you decided this is what I'm supposed to do and this is how I'm supposed to do it, and I've invested all this money, so this is how my money has to show up, right? It's crazy how we do this. It's absolutely insane. We get fixated and we get stuck on the how, and we miss all of the generative energies that are out there. We're not actually having conversations with our creations. So, for instance, I went to college and I graduated top of my class in human resources. And at the time, I really enjoyed human resources. And I started to work in the field, and I worked in the field for about 25 years. Near the end of my career in human resources, it became incredibly taxing, incredibly difficult, unpleasant. Things were making me feel overworked, underappreciated. I didn't feel like I was feeling that I was contributing or inspiring. I certainly wasn't feeling inspired to even go to the job on a daily basis. And so when I started to ask some questions, and they weren't super specific questions, but I was just like, what else could I be doing? And I didn't really have an answer for that. I started to get nudges in different ways. Before you knew it, I started my own business. Now, I really thought that I was going to be doing consulting in human resources. Okay? I thought that's exactly what I was going to be doing, but no, that's not what occurred, because the minute I started to think about contacting employers to ask if I could assist them with their HR, I felt like I was going to, throw up. It was just like, oh my God, the idea of doing that just made me crazy. So I was inspired. Something just jumped. Hey, what if I took a coaching course? Now, I thought that would kind of be like a side deal. I didn't think that would be my main. And before you know it, that started to become the thing that really lit me up. I actually did a vision board one time and put a bunch of different things on it, and one of the things on it was Blog Talk Radio. I had no idea, guys, absolutely no clue what Blog Talk Radio was. And before you know it, within just a couple of months, I had a company call me, Voice America, and they asked me if I'd ever thought about being on radio. And within just a couple of months, I was a radio show host. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I became a radio show host. And here I am, many years later, going into my 10th year of a radio show host. Who knew, right? Now, how did I become the owner and the creator of the Inspired Choices Network? Again, it was one of those little scavenger hunt nudges from the universe. And one day when I asked my business what it wanted me to create, it said radio show. Okay, I'd been on the Voice America platform. I had finished that out. It didn't end well with someone that I was actually co-hosting with, and I thought, that's it, I'm done. I'm done with that nonsense. I'm moving on to something else. Because I had concluded that it wasn't generative. And then when I asked my business and it said this, I was like, what? Oh, my God. Okay. And so I started back on the radio with a company local to me. Within about a month or two, I was asked, have you ever thought about producing? And within 6 months of that question and me being open, here's the big thing. You got to be open. If you're talking to the creations and you're asking questions and you're willing to receive, they're going to show up in different ways. So before I knew it, I was the least owner on that platform, and within a couple of years, created the Inspired Choices Network. Now, all along, I would be asking questions. I would ask questions. You know, even the name, my producer, Rhonda, and my dear friend, you know, when we were looking at, okay, what would this new platform like to be called? And together, you know, we got Inspired Choices Network, and I was like, oh, my God, no, that's too arrogant. That's, you know, I went into this whole, you know, my ego was getting in the way. And I was so worried about what people would think. And the more we looked at it, the more it was like, yeah, this is it. This is what it wants to be called. I had to get out of my way. So when you're having the conversations, when you're looking at the creations, be willing to be wrong. Be willing for the creation to say, hey, this is what I know would be generative. Now, why would you give, and some people may say, give your power over to this energy? Well, for the very reason what I just said, your ego. When your ego gets in the way, when your judgment of yourself gets in the way, and by golly, it will, and it will oftentimes get in the way, when it's getting in the way, you can't see the greatest possibility. But the energies of your creations have no points of view. They are very easily connected to all time and space, and they can gift to you what they're aware of. The question is, are you willing to really be completely open to new possibilities? At this time and space in my life, I have never been more confident, more joyful, more assured that my future is absolutely fabulous, and simultaneously have very little idea of what all of it looks like. It's a very interesting dance. And it's a dance that I'm ready for, because all of these years, 56 and a half years at least, of controlling the outcome has not always created the greatest. So my question to you is, are you willing to have these conversations? Are you willing to throw out the logical, the linear of what you should be doing when you start to have the questions with your conversation? You know, I have conversations with my radio show all of the time, and I ask my radio show what would be a contribution to talk about. And I'm very surprised by by what comes up. I'm not sitting here with a library of topics of what I want to speak about. I connect in with my radio show on a weekly basis. I connect in with my business. I ask my business, show me who would love to create with me. Business, guide me. Give me the nudges. And then honor. So if you're going to have conversations with your creation, you've also got to honor what you receive. And your first thought is your best thought. Don't go back and forth questioning it. I spent years questioning the thoughts that came in and eventually just went, yeah, I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. and would just go back into the old grind, right, of doing it the way you're supposed to do it. So when you are willing to be a free agent with the universe, when you are willing to let your crazy fly, let your joy fly, and you are willing to truly receive the possibilities of prosperity, to receive the possibilities of a generative relationship, of a joyful relationship with your children, of a peaceful relationship with family. When you're willing to have a home contribute to you, when you're willing to have a country contribute to you, the planet contribute to you, when you really, really turn up your receiving, you will start to get how much is waiting to gift to you. But one of the greatest problems we have is we're not willing to receive. We think if it doesn't come out of our brain, it's not actually going to work. And that is the farthest thing from the truth, my friends. I really hope that this show has contributed to you and shown you that conversations with anything is possible and amazingly generative. I'm in the midst of I'm actually flying to Bangkok in less than 24 hours. And it will take me probably 24 hours to get there. Not a place I would have ever gone to, but my son lives there now. And I want to go and I want to see his world. And I've never had an interest to go there. And in looking at this, I was like, okay, all right, you want to have fun and you want to enjoy this. So I started to have a conversation with my trip. And I just was asking, okay, show me what would be fun. Show me what would be ease. Guide me. Guide me. And I have put my barriers down to what this is going to look like. I've parked my control freak, and I am ready to go and have an adventure. I'm ready to have an adventure at this time, and I'm ready to have an adventure in each day going forward. And the only way that you can have an adventure, my friends, is when you get out of your own way. Allow your creations in every moment. Each day is your creation. Speak to it. Allow it to contribute to you. Allow it to guide you. And if you need to pick up that control freak again, you can do that. But just look at that every time you've been a control freak. How has that worked for you? This world has ample opportunities, so much abundance. It really does require you to be in conversation with all of it. And remember, the prosperity flows when you're in the flow. And when you're in joy, it all comes to you tenfold. Thank you so much, everybody, for connecting with me today, for joining the call. So appreciative of who you are and who you're being. Until next week, remember, you can always make another choice. Goodbye, my friends.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, be willing to choose what you really desire. This is your life, making the choices that bring you all that you